So Brandon Stadium, also known as Coventry Stadium, is located 6 miles to the east of Coventry, Brandon, Warwickshire, England. It was also the home of the Coventry Bees motorcycle Speedway team. It hosted stock car racing, Greyhound racing, and as 2020 it closed and fell into a dilapidated state after several fires.
Brandon Stadium's first Speedway meeting took place on the 29th of September 1928. The track was owned by Midland Sports Stadiums, who also own Leicester Speedway. The Charles Autry promoted the Speedway and stock car racing until his death in 1998. His son Martin then carried on promoting duties until the stadium was sold to Ava Sandu in 2003. The stadium's capacity is approximately 12,500. The record attendance for Brandon stands at 24,000 and was set during a Speedway meeting. The Brandonopolis of 1954 on the Thursday night were then locked the gates and were turning away buses.
So Brandon Stadium has been a popular stop for many high-profile Speedway events in its lifetime, under the old format of the Speedway World Championship events, including the British Speedway Championship, the Commonwealth and Overseas Finals, as well as hosting the 1998, 1999 and 2000 Speedway Grand Prix of Great Britain. The Brandonopolis is an annual event at Brandon which features some of the world's best Speedway riders. It also was postponed in 2011 due to the BSPA dispute of the 2011 Elite League season.
In 1991, Brandon Stadium staged the Under-21s World Championship final, which was won by Denmark's Brian Andersen, who defeated fellow Dane Mortensen Andersen in runoff after both finished on 14 points. Australia's Jason Lyons finished third, while the leading British rider Joe Screen finished in 5th place with 10 points. The Speedway also hosted the last Speedway World Team Cup final in 2000, won by Sweden, after having previously held the final in 1993, won by the United States.
The Three Wheels were a regular visitor to Brandon Stadium, with both team and individual meetings taking place. The most prestigious meeting was the T Gold Trophy Sidecar World Cup in 2010 and the Great British Open Championship from 1996 to 1999.
The Speedway track was also used in Briscar F1 stock cars, having raced here continuously since 1954. The first meeting was held on the 30th of June, the first heat being won by Percy Hellcat Brine. He also won the meeting final. The Briscar Formula 1 Stock Car World Championships has been held here many times since 1960. The track was used also for Briscar Formula 2 stock cars, V8 Haas stocks and various other forms of oval motorsports, including bangers, saloon, stock cars, mini stocks and sprint cars.
The venue was set to host the Briscar's F2 World Championship for the first time in 2017, but this event had to be moved to the Adrian Flux Arena in Kings Lynn due to Coventry Stadium's closure, which was poorly handled by the stadium owners.
The Sandersons family had the majority shareholding in Midland Sports since the end of the war. Charles Autry was installed as the managing director of Coventry Stadium Limited at Brandon, despite only having a major shareholding in the company. Alan Sanderson died in November 1968, resulting in Autry becoming the dominant decision maker for the track, and 14 years after the closure of Linfield's Lane Stadium, Greyhounds racing returned to Coventry in 1978.
The racing arrived shortly after failed Barrett's homes bid for sister track Leicester Stadium, fueling speculation that it was to be a replacement for Leicester. The first meeting took place on the 19th of September 1978, and facilities included a restaurant, a modern computerised totem bars. The circuit was all sand and the hair was the outside McGee, and Ron Day was installed as general manager with Jeff Hammond as racing manager. A competition called the Eclipse returned to its traditional Coventry roots a year later.
Leading trainers Jeff DeMulder, Bob Tompkins and Natalie Savard all became attached to the track, and DeMulder went on to win the Trainer of the Year. During the 1980, Iska Ruler Tompkins reached the English Greyhound Derby final. General manager Ron Day died whilst in South Africa in 1981, and Sean Doyle, son of the trainer of Paddy Doyle, the young racing manager who had joined Coventry at the end of 1980 from Cragley Heath, lost a battle with cancer. Mick Welby, the racing manager at sister track Leicester, was brought in as a racing operations manager. Barbara Tompkins won the 1983 English Greyhound Derby for Coventry, and I'm Slippy was victorious at White City Stadium.
Midland Sports finally sold sister track Leicester in 1984 to Barrett's Homes, and another Derby final appearance by Tompkins' trained runner Merlin Slippy was overshadowed by the imminent closure of the stadium to Greyhound racing. It finished on 24th of October 1986, but Ochiltree remained the Speedway promoter.
Greyhounds returned in 2004. Simon Harris, the Wimbledon racing manager, was recruited at the end of 2003. The track was relayed in time for April 2004 start. New kennels were built for the racing schedule of Wednesday, Friday and Saturday evening races. The track received more good news when it was awarded the 2004 Trainers' Championship. Matt Dartnell, who trained the Greyhounds through to 2009 in the English Greyhound Derby final.
After Boxing Day 2009, the company went into liquidation and closed. Just 3 years later, the well-known professional gambler and owner Harry Findlay reopened Coventry Stadium until 2014, when it was once shut again. Right, so a little bit on what's actually happened now. So far, right now, the stadium is currently, its future's uncertain, as when we arrived we found a piece of paper with someone stating what's next for the site, and it said 1,300 homes are meant to be built on there, but currently there's a dispute between the people of Coventry or Brandon and the council. They're asking for it to stay open or reopen it instead of building this housing. But in my personal opinion, this is what I think. This is not to do with history, this isn't verified, it's just what I think. I don't think it is going to be reopened, just because when we went, the state it was in, it's going to have to take a lot of funding and loans. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of money to redo it all. So in my personal opinion, I think the houses are going to get built on it.
Olsen, who shows first panel, is in second place, just with the last on the inside of him as they separate there and be very straight here at Brandon. It is Olsen who made the start, coming there after him.
Back in second place, Millwood's Master. As they go around towards the second last turn, on the inside there was the 5, new in this way, then of course Master and Piper, but it's Glenn Paddy's.
So I'm going to be the